Welcome back to Up Front. State Democrats have a lot of work to do after losing the race for governor for the third time in 4 years and coming up short in state legislative races. Is it time for new leadership, new thinking? We're asking Milwaukee State Representative Evan Goyke, who is considering a bid for Assembly Minority Leader. Representative, good to have you back on the program.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
So what's your takeaway on Tuesday night? What happened? What was the message for Democrats?
Tuesday was tough, and the message is that we have a lot of heavy lifting to do. I think the party absolutely needs a new direction, and I don't mean that to say a pivot to the left or to the center. I mean it with really two directions. One, internal. What do we stand for? What are those core principles? When I was growing up on my TV, there was a bust of Robert Kennedy, and those titans of the Democratic Party are what inspired me to run for office. So a return to those roots that are deep and rich in the Democratic Party. And then number two is an external. We need to listen. We need to meet with folks throughout the state of Wisconsin, urban, rural, suburban, and listen to what they have to say of their needs and priorities and what they believe the Democratic Party stands for. And we need to sit down with those folks and really listen.
Do you think Democrats haven't been listening to people?
No, it's not a criticism of anything that we've done in the past. I say that all looking towards the future, and not just 2 years from now, but 4 years and 6 years from now. And so it's not a criticism of the past. I do think Democrats are obviously open and do listen, but we need a new direction. I think that's what voters told Democrats on Tuesday.
You've indicated that you're going to take a shot at running for Assembly Minority Leader in your party, that you like to take on a leadership role. My question is, why would you want a leadership role at this moment in the party's history? Your numbers are so small in the Assembly. People would make the argument, and some have, that you guys will be irrelevant in terms of what the legislature is going to do. Why do you want to be a leader at that time?
Well, I want to push us in that new direction. And as a new voice and new energy, Mike, I wake up every day as a state representative. I represent 57,000 people here in Milwaukee, and they have nonpartisan issues that they need my help with. Too many people are underemployed or unemployed. Potholes need to be filled. I mean, we have issues that need work, and they're not Democratic or Republican, and that work excites me. I'm in it for the long haul. And what I am proposing to do as leader and why I'm running for leader is to push us back in a direction where we can gain traction, gain relevancy, gain seats in the legislature, and have an equal voice, a respected voice at the table.
Give me a sense, given the fact that Republicans will have control of pretty much everything in Madison, is there anything you can work together with Republicans on? Have you heard anything from Republicans that leaves you encouraged that there can be bipartisan agreement on certain issues?
Well, I'm always encouraged. Like I said, I have a very positive attitude going back into this session despite the numbers. I have strong relationships with legislators on the other side of the aisle. I am concerned and fearful in reviewing the Republican platform in the legislature. Missing is a word, bipartisan. That word was all over the pages of their proposals 2 years ago, and it's gone this time around. So it does make me nervous, but there are things that we can work on.
Such as?
The safety of our community. We learned last night that a young girl was shot and killed here in Milwaukee by a stray bullet. It has to end. It has to end. Foreclosure crisis. Worked across the aisle with suburban Republicans here in Milwaukee on some bills last session, and I think they're receptive to helping solve that crisis. And it's finding those little areas that are purple, that are nonpartisan, and working as closely together on those issues as we can, and I think there's plenty of them. And the more we try to reach out, the more we'll find those issues where we can work across the aisle.
You pointed out that you represent Milwaukee, and you represent a part of Milwaukee that's got some big challenges. Do you think Republicans are going to be sensitive to the challenges? You just named a couple. You'd like to see the parties work together, but do you think they will be sensitive to your concerns and your constituents' concerns?
They better be. They're real concerns. They're real people. The Republicans are in control in the legislature. They govern everyone, Democrats and Republicans. And I will make sure that my community's needs and challenges and our assets are heard loud and clear in Madison. And I expect my Republican colleagues, and I'm going to hold them accountable, to listen to me and listen to other Democrats and address those needs and concerns.
And your desire for leadership, not necessarily a reflection on the current Assembly Minority Leader, Peter Barca?
Not at all. And this is what we learned Tuesday, is that we need a new approach and a new voice, new and bold ideas. It is within us. I think we have the talent and the inspiration in the legislature now, and I want to see that those other voices, other members of the legislature, rise forward as well.
Representative Evan Boyke, the Democrat from Milwaukee. Thanks very much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
You bet. Next, Ryan Walker 2016. Is Wisconsin going to be an epicenter of the political universe again? But first, here's the WisPolitics Week Ahead.
WisPolitics.com hosts a post-election event Friday in Madison, featuring Politico's chief White House correspondent, Mike Allen.